Just a second. Right. Hello and welcome to another episode of Gigsy Creator Central. I'm your host, Arvind Sundar, and joining me is Vikram Parthan, CEO of Gigsy India. And together, what we do is every Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. India time, we get together and we discuss concepts, topics, ideas, material that is useful for creators when they are trying to turn their passion into profit. In the past, we've discussed a number of different topics, such as the best way to create content. How do you motivate yourself? How can you actually, what is the step by step plan that you can take to go from passion to profit? Today, as a part of that lesson, is an idea which is quite important to every creator who's trying to make that shift from just keeping whatever they're creating, their art, from it being just a hobby into something that can actually make them money. Now, of course, Vikram and I, we've made some money from pursuing our own passion, and we've encapsulated all of these lessons as a part of the Gigsy Creator Central. If you, as a creator, if you're watching it right now, if you're watching it on the live stream, or if you are watching it at some time in the distant future, please note that all of this content is available in the Gigsy Creator Central, as well as via emails when you sign up on gigsy.in. Without much ado, let's dig into today's topic, which is the 5-day launch challenge by Gigsy. This is the first time we are premiering this, and it's as simple as that, right? It's exactly what we've been talking about.
Debuting. Anyway.
Debuting, fine. It's not debuting. Debuting. I'm just going to set the stage, Vikram, and then you can pitch in as well once you're done with your filter coffee or kashayam or whatever that is. You see, the thing is, when we're trying to go from being an artist, right, a creative. When I'm saying artist, I'm not just talking about painters and sculptors and singers and musicians, right? I'm talking about when you're pursuing a certain hobby, something that you're passionate about, right? In my case, it is career coaching. In Vikram's case, it is life coaching. And when we are looking at this aspect, right, it's something that we started on because we love that space. We believe in it. We have something that we want to share in that particular, in that particular space. We have a certain perspective. That's over here. All the way over here, we have a slightly different situation where instead of just doing something for fun, we're doing it for fun as well as for profit, right? We got started. We have that initial momentum because we enjoyed what we were doing. That's why we started over here. But to go from here to there needs to be a change. And I believe that change is like cling wrap, okay? Saran wrap, or even a rubber sheet. I want you to visualize this, right? So think of it that there is a certain rubber sheet, right, that you are trying to cut through, right? So it's right there. It's like the plastic sheet that's like right over your head. It's the stuff that you stretch over your glass bowls or something, and you try to push through it, right? The first time you push, right, you don't quite tear through, but you do manage to deform it a little bit. The second time you push harder and you deform it a little bit more. You keep on doing it again and again and again until finally one day you actually tear through and you go from where you are right now to that next level. Usually that is when somebody makes their first bit of money online. And trust me, I've been doing stuff for free, right? I think I've got like a whole host of numerous projects in the past and various avatars, right? I had a website called kudimi.com. I had a website called callmegundu.com. I had a website called 2minutereads.com. And I amassed massive audiences in them. However, what I could not do was actually monetize them. The first time I actually monetized something was through this thing called the Way of the Octopus, right? I was creating these little decks of cards that people could do and essentially break out of their comfort zone. They contain these little challenges that you could do. The first time I actually created something and I sold it, right? Like I had to figure out so much of that, how do I connect this system to that system? Then how do I connect that to the delivery guy? And then how do I do this invoicing, this wrap? That's an absolute nightmare, right? And it took me a long time, as well as a consistent trial and effort that I had to do to figure out how to make that system work. Unfortunately, Gigsy didn't exist at that time. What did happen was when I made that first buck, when I got the first like $800 that were deposited into my account, I was like, dude, that's actually something I can do to make some money. It's no longer just about me talking about what I enjoy, but more importantly, it's about me actually selling stuff that's making money. Then after that, right, things change. Now that you know how to do it, right? Like once somebody's actually like Roger Bannister, once somebody's actually broken the 4 minute mile, suddenly, right, all the future things are like, yes, 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 it's just possible. It's no longer about whether we can do it or not. It's more about how can we do this better? How can we do this more? Right. That's like the first mindset shift, right? That needs to happen. Like the first time you make money by pursuing your passion, that's a very, very special and magical moment. Vikram, do you want to share your thoughts on this transition?
I think it's important to understand that you should not give up, like you were talking about, going through that cling wrap
Hmm.
situation. Um, it's very easy for people to just put their hands up and say, "Oh, you can't. I can't do this. Just
Hmm.
too much of work. Can't get this done." But imagine the times that you actually sat and worked on your passion. What is that feeling that you felt when you were in process, right? Somewhat happy, a little elated. Your mind was blank. You were not thinking anything. You are
I
very
would also
much in
say
the
I'm
moment, right?
cursing myself during that time. I'm like, how do I do this? How do I do this? So that's also running in my head.
Yeah, you're probably even sort of ideating at the same time, and you're
Hmm.
trying to make it even more perfect. So what I would recommend or what I would suggest is that don't really give up when you start doing something. Give it a good shot. Right? You understand what a good shot is, right? Don't let other things sort of deter you down. Uh, Park some time off for it, and I think we'll talk about how much time you need to
Yeah,
park
yeah.
for it during the session today, and how much of effort you should actually put in to get there. And when you sort of launch it and when you start seeing that it is yielding results, then you'll stick to it, right? But if you don't give it a shot, it's even difficult to get down that path of actually launching it and seeing where it's going to take you.
Hmm. This reminds me of that quote by Ira Glass. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the work, and well, it's
I don't know about Ira Glass, but I am Vikram. Yeah.
oh god. All right, so I have that open like from Goodreads in front of me. I'm just going to narrate it for the benefit of all posterity, and it gives me goosebumps every time I listen to this. So this is how it goes, right? Nobody tells this to people who are beginners. I wish someone told me. All of us who do creative work, whoops, what is this? It's asking me for a sign up. Let's try that again. All right. Ira Glass says, nobody tells this to people who are beginners. I wish someone told me. All of us who do creative work, we get into it because we have good taste. But there is this gap. For the first couple of years, you make stuff. It's just not that good. It's trying to be good, it has potential, but it's not. But your taste, the thing that got you into the game, is still killer. And your taste is why your work disappoints you. A lot of people never get past this phase, they quit. Most people I know who do interesting creative work went through years of this. We know our work doesn't have the special thing that we want it to have. We all go through this. And if you are just starting out or you are still in this phase, you got to know it's normal. And the most important thing you can do is do a lot of work. Put yourself on a deadline so that every week you will finish one story. It is only by going through a volume of work that you will close that gap, and your work will be as good as your ambitions. And I took longer to figure out how to do this than anyone I've ever met. It's going to take a while. It's normal to take a while. You just got to fight your way through. Ira Glass, all right? And that thing, it gives me goosebumps every single time I read it.
Yeah, isn't that like a more elaborate version of what I just said?
Yes, except it's by someone more famous than we are and therefore carries more weight.
Oh, like that. Okay.
And SEO juice. So let's not forget that. But yes, that's what you have to put in that volume of work, like the very venerable Vikram Parthan pointed out. You just got to stick with it until you actually cover through. And to help each one of you who's watching this webinar, watching this video in the future, we actually created this thing called the 5-day challenge, right? And very, very simply, it needs about 5 hours of work. Remember, what you're going to be getting at the end of this 5-day challenge is not your magnum opus. It's not like the best thing that you want to be known for, right? It's something that's going to give you belief. It's going to give you proof that you can make money doing what you love, right? And this is how we kind of plan this, right? First thing, you need about 5 hours of work to do this, right? And if you really want to push this, you can do it in just a weekend. In fact, if you just split it across a week, you can do it like in an hour a day, right? And the entire idea behind this is that it's designed to get you off the ground, right? It's trying to take you from there. It's going to give you a vision of what the future can look like, right? What is actually possible.
It's basically getting rid of your inertia.
That's it. That's it. I'm okay. Yes, yes. I mean, I couldn't have said it better, right? So this is designed to be like that catalyst that's going to get you over that hump, start making that money. You're not going to get rich doing this. I mean, you might if you do well, congratulations. But the point is to prove to you that you can start making money doing what you love. All right. Let's dive in. But before we do, any questions from the audience right now? If you do, go ahead and type it out in the chat, and I will answer it as and when I can. All right. Okay, let's drill it. Day one. This day is mainly dedicated to figuring out what is it that you want to create, right? And at the heart of all of this is to figure out what is the biggest problem your audience has. Now, obviously, when you're creating something, it could be art, it could be design, it could be content, it could be video, audio, any of those things, right? You obviously have an audience for your work, right? What is that biggest problem that they actually have that you can solve? There are many ways to find this answer, right? You can go just Google search in different websites that or you like, wherever your audience hangs out. You can look at communities. You can actually ask your audience, hey guys, what is the biggest problem you have about blank, right? Now
Oh,
if you're
in
being
fact, I mean,
yes,
I'm sorry to interrupt. I
no,
don't
go
want
ahead, go
to.
ahead.
Yeah, the audience bit and talking to people bit. One of the smartest things you can do, or one of the easiest things you can do, is to probably talk to your first circle, right? Your family, friends, get them to give you feedback, buy into your idea a little bit, understand what they really want, right? Because they give you very good opinions, and their opinions are usually holding a lot of water, primarily because they know you well. And it's important to sort of get that out of the way first before you start going out to wider social media reach. And then you can actually even experiment with these people you already know and see if you can actually do something with them and get them to partake in this experiment of yours.
Interesting. I hear what you're saying, Vikram, and believe it or not, I actually have a different take on this. Right? Uh, what if your friends and family are not your ideal audience? Right? So maybe that's one possibility. Another thing is. I know my parents love me a lot, right? So they probably, yes, Karna, you can do this. Don't worry, and that might be something that could be, you
Yeah,
know,
I mean, don't talk to your parents.
but yeah, but I get what you mean. So whoever's watching this, right, you got to remember that you get that right kind of audience, and you check with them, and of course, your people who are close to you, right? People who have an understanding of what you're doing. Right? I think that's key. They would be in a good place to give you feedback. Of course, for those of you who are there as a part of the Gigsy community, as a part of the emails, you would have received the Passion to Bootcamp entire 1 hour webinar where we give you like a 30-step plan that you can go from just just doing whatever you're doing for fun to actually making money. In fact, this 5-day challenge is like a compressed version of that, right? So that's there. Then you can also look at other things like set up a Google form, right? Like what is your biggest question? You can just send that out to whoever you know. Personally, what I did was on my phone, right? I had a network of people of my relevant audience. So I just like sent out like a massive broadcast message. Hey, Maja, I'm trying to, build out something along these lines, blah, blah, blah. What is it that you can, what is the biggest question you have? Believe it or not, I followed this process to launch something known as the top 50 interview questions that everybody must know, right? And that was a product that I've actually sold. So, but we're going to explore this journey as a part of that. So you want to figure out what is the biggest problem your audience has. Once you find this problem, right, you need to check, is it actually big enough? And does your audience actually care that they have a problem, right? If the answer for these things are no, then that's not something that you want to pursue. So you want to go back and figure out like a different problem that you can actually solve. Then you look into these other questions. What is the kind of goal that you're looking at? What is the exact point in their journey that your audience is at right now? And what is that one outcome that you can deliver for them? You see this? The first thing, what is the biggest problem that they have? And this last one, which is what is the outcome for them? These are two of the most important questions that you can answer. Why? Because this is going to form the skeleton of everything that you're going to be doing. So for day one, what you're going to do, take an hour, do your research, right? You go ahead and find out what are these different things that you can go ahead and discover more and more about your audience, about their problem, and what is the best way for you to solve it. Vikram, do you have anything to add to this at this point?
I think it's very, very succinct the way you put all of these things. So nothing important from my side right now. I would just be repeating what you said, but I'll wait for a couple more
Sure, sure.
sections to, yeah.
Awesome. All right, so that was day one. Okay, so you spent about 60 minutes in doing your research. You kind of got your answers by either calling up people, you've done your research, and you figured out what is that one outcome, right, that you want to deliver for your audience. Then, once you have this, right, so once you have mapped everything, what you want to do is you have to fix on one, right? Even now, like let's say that this is the biggest problem your audience has is they want to lose weight. Okay, I know this because I'm hypothetically one of those people who wants to lose weight. Now, in that situation, right, there are many outcomes that are there. I mean, the outcome is still just one, right? It is that I want to lose weight, but there are many different ways. I can talk about intermittent fasting. I can talk about exercises, whatever, right? There are different ways to lose weight, I'm being told. What you want to do as a part of day two is fix on the outcome that you wish to deliver. Okay, so it could be lose weight, get fit, whatever that is. And you want to make sure that you think about this in terms of how your audience would be approaching this, right? So you want to fix on your approach, you want to fix on the outcome that you want to deliver, and you have to make sure that you're thinking from your audience's perspective. Then what I want you to do is I want to take this thing, right? Now, let's say that losing weight, right? Let's just take that as an example, or preparing for an interview. We could take that as well. Whatever your answer is, split it into 5 parts. Now, 5 here has got an asterisk because it's just a random number, but like, just keep it small. You don't want like, 40 parts. You don't want to do that. You want to do like 3 parts, 5 parts, 7 parts, single digit numbers, right? You want to keep it as short and as succinct as possible. And what you want to do is use something like, your spreadsheets, or, you could even use your notebook or your mind maps, whatever, right? To split your answer, right? You want to do this categorization. You want to spend day 2 thinking about what is the outcome that you want to solve, what is the process that you want to take your audience from where they are to this place where they can achieve that specific outcome. This would essentially be like the second hour of effort that you're going to be putting in. Now, remember, you're going to be spending only 5 hours creating this product. Okay, 5 hours. Now, what that means is this is not going to be top-notch quality, and this is not designed to be. This is designed to prove to you and test and validate that, hey, what you're doing actually has a lot of value for whoever's listening. Okay? Once you've done that, you want to pick your format. See, there are many different ways that you can start making money, right? On Gigsy itself, you can sell your digital products, you have video courses, you have subscriptions, events, you can do all of these things. When you're looking at the form factor, right? When you're picking this problem that you want to solve, once you have split it and you have organized it, you want to figure out what is the format that you wish to deliver it in. You can give it as an ebook. You can give it as a checklist. You can create a template. You can even give away like packs of files, or you can conduct a workshop or a webinar. Any of these things are absolutely possible. You have to pick one that works for your audience and for yourself. Otherwise, it's not going to work, right? So that's what you're going to be spending the second hour at as a part of the 5-day challenge. Anything to add here, Vikram?
Yeah, so I think it's important to understand that you should not basically get carried away and have a lot of options, something that you alluded to, 5 versus 40. And also important to sort of zero down on certain easy to do things, right? So for instance, if your forte is not about creating content, but your forte is to, do live events, right? Or have happy conversations online without having to put too much of effort into creating content, then you could do live events as well to start with. Gauge what your audience is trying to tell you and see what you can do from there.
Mm-hmm.
And then sort of start seeing how you can productize that into content, right? Where
Right.
people can view it offline. Or if you are someone who is into creating merchandising, right? Could be small products, artifacts,
Posters,
small
coasters.
posters, coasters, illustrations, whatever it is, right? One of the things you could do is to have a live session where you could actually draw something very quickly for an audience, right? And they sort of get the feeling that you are doing this out of love for them, and also at the same time they understand your talent, right? They know that you can pick something up very quickly. So some of these things that actually can work very well in a live situation can then translate into giving you ideas for even content that can be recorded and then sold later on, right?
Mhm.
So these are all interesting little experiments that people can try.
Thank you. And I have like so many points to add on the basis of what you're saying. First thing is Gigsy Creator Central, right? You and I, we can talk. We know this stuff, right? We have gone through this experience ourselves. But if it comes to video editing, we would probably break down and have like just ball out tears, right? We're not good at that. So what we do is we just have this life, we have this, and we've just completely adopted this low production value but high social relevance as an approach for us, because this works for us, right? Everybody has to figure that out. That's the first thing. Second thing, speaking of artists and drawing, right? There's this YouTube channel that I'm a big fan of, WASD20. It's run by this guy called Nate, who is who's a school teacher. I think he teaches history and geography, but he also loves to draw maps, right? So he's a cartographer. I think he runs this website called Sellsword Maps. And on his YouTube channel, he actually has like streams where he's just like drawing maps and he's walking people through the process of what is he doing and how is he doing this and stuff like that. And trust me, watching that happen is one of the most mesmerizing things that you can do. So thank you for that, Vikram. And all right, so I'm going to go ahead and move into day 3. So day 1, we figured out what is the biggest problem your audience has. Then we figured out what is the outcome for them. We've done this for a number of different problems. Then the second thing that we do is, out of all of those, we've chosen, remember, we have chosen one problem to solve. We've broken it down and we have picked a format as well. All right, then day 3 is all about creating. Now, remember, this is something that is going to be very, very small, very, very succinct. I think we're just sticking on succinct today because Vikram just got it lodged in my head. But beyond that, what we want to do is you actually want to spend that time creating and editing your content. This does not have to be perfect, because here you have to focus on the value that you're providing. All right. When I'm saying does not have to be perfect, it has to deliver the value that you are giving. But the rest of that can be just absolutely no frills. What I mean by that is, now let's say that if you want to create a wonderful painting of, I don't know, like a fjord in Norway, right? If you want to do that, right, then that has to have that aesthetic value. But then the rest of the stuff, how well you're doing it, all of that doesn't matter. What you want to do is you want to focus on creating the best possible content that you can do within these restrictions, right? You have to like literally just use your phone, set a countdown timer and say that, okay, I'm going to be spending only 60 minutes doing this. When you're doing this, you have a number of different formats. For video, you can just look at this. Cameras, my personal favorites are just to go live, like on Zoom as well. When we're doing this, we're just recording all of this as it is happening, and we just release it. One step further, you can just go live stream. I've done that a lot on YouTube. I just turn on my camera. I have like a mind map or something that I'm going to be talking about, or sometimes I have like these sort of index cards in which I have my talking points lined up, and then I just like riff. That's my style. That's what works for me. You got to figure out what works for you in terms of video. In terms of audio, there are a number of different tools. I know Mr. Yogeshwaran is watching and he's thinking, oh my God, what are these guys doing? So Yogeshwaran actually does a ton of work in audio, but for amateurs like me, GarageBand and Audacity works really well. I think there are some really fancy things like Reaper and Audition and stuff like that, out of my skill level. But if that is your thing, you should totally go for it. If you're trying to create images, Photoshop and Illustrator, if you have the skills and the tools. Otherwise, I mean, for me, go-to is Canva, right? And of course, you can always do stuff like drawing on like a piece of paper, right? Like, I mean, I have gridded sheets for drawing maps and stuff like that. And then I just pop it into the scanner and get it out. For text, you can just go ahead, use any software. But here's the main thing, right, that I want to highlight. If you are good at your craft, you would know how to do all of these things, right? But what is unlikely is you're not going to think of outsourcing as an option, right? Considering that you have that 1 hour time limit, you might probably want to go ahead and explore, let's say, Fiverr as an option, or giving it to freelancers. Now, when I was creating some of my products, what I have done is I've actually outsourced like an ebook, right, on habit building. I gave them, like, again, a mind map, and I said, like, hey, go ahead, take this, make it into a full-fledged ebook. That's also fine. I mean, the ideas are still yours, right? So you definitely want to do that. So day 3, or the hour 3 that you're going to be doing, is just spending it on creating your content. Now remember, although I'm just saying it's about an hour, you might probably want to spend like no more than like 3 hours on this, right? That's kind of key, because you're trying to make this as small, as low impact, as low budget, as low production value as possible. Because again, we're getting into this so that we can test that, hey, this is actually going to be making us money or not, right? We want to make that first $1,000, which is not going to be so difficult when you look at what's going to be happening in day 4. Just publish it on Gigsy. Quite simple. You set all of these things. Now, when it comes to pricing, right, this can be an entire debate or a conversation on it, itself. And perhaps that's one thing that we will pick up in the future. But Vikram, do you want to talk about pricing and pricing strategy and stuff like that?
One of the things that I personally did was to price something very, very small, cheap. How do you want to say it?
Low.
Like very low.
Low.
Yeah. We have this thing between you and I with low, little, fewer, small,
It's
all of
grammar.
that. Yeah.
It's, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
the point is you priced it low.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah. So I think the biggest inertia for people is to sort of understand what you bring to the table, and no matter what you put out there in terms of content and everything else, um, they need to sort of get a ringside view of what you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I usually start doing is to give people access to me for 120 rupees or 200 rupees a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
And which is hardly anything. It's a small subscription. You probably end up buying me 4 coffees over a period of 30 days. That's the most you do. And over a period of time, you get a fascinating set of returns, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when people pay you very, very little to start with, right? And then over a period of time, you're able to demonstrate the value that you can give them. You're then able to hike up your price over a period of time. So I would rather set my price really, really low, get people to understand what I'm built of, right? What I'm made of and what value I bring to the table, and then ultimately pick it up from there.
Interesting. You just gave me an idea while you were talking. Thank you for sharing that, Vikram. Here's how I have approached this, right? So I basically, what I did was I went ahead and I explored what else what else was actually available in the market, and I found out, like, hey, okay, like books on interviews, right? I mean, you have stuff like at 4,000 rupees on one end, and you have stuff at like $70 and all that on the other end. I chose kind of a middle path, right? See, the thing is, pricing can actually be used as a good gate, right? You want to make sure that you're attracting the right kind of people. There are some people who just love your stuff. That's, if it's absolutely free, but beyond that, they're not going to be doing anything else, right? So maybe what you could do is, let's say that you're setting the price point. Let's say you're going to be releasing whatever you're creating as a subscription post, right? So what that means is you're going to say that, hey, I'm going to be creating this sort of stuff like every month, right? So it's going to be cheap, and you're going to have to pay only like $100 for me. And imagine, for you, the value, the money lies in actually getting numbers, right? And what you could do is you could go ahead and say, like, okay, so if it's $100, maybe I can get like 20 people to sign up. 20 into 100 is like $2,000. And still, the effort that you're putting in into creating something that's worth $100 is just 5 hours, right? 5 hours. But if you can get more and more people to join you as a subscription, what happens is, well, with 20 people, you get $2,000. What if you get like 100 people? That's like 10 grand, right? And you still have to spend in like 5 hours to build out something like this. Of course, this is also a very good way for you to start attracting the right kind of people that you want. Maybe another approach that you could look at is publishing this as a fixed digital product that can be used at any time, right? And it's not like a part of a subscription, it's just a digital product that you sell once and then you do that. I have sold courses worth 5,499 as of Gigsy. I have sold courses worth, $240 as well. And the content is like obviously different, but like Vikram was saying, and I think we were saying this in an earlier episode of Gigsy Creator Central as well. What we do is like even stuff that we have, like for example, Gigsy Creator Central, right? I used to do live streams for my own thing, and even though I was doing it for my private audience, I would then package it and then I would sell it either as a value add or perhaps as a workshop on how to get noticed at work, right? Now, if that was a thing, then hey, yeah, cool, go for it. And you can package that as a product itself. So whatever it is, you take all of that, you have a number of different publishing options on Gigsy, right? You can choose to go as a digital product or a subscription. For the first time, I would recommend that you go ahead and set it up as a digital product, because it will make, it reduces that commitment that you're expecting from other people and from yourself, right? You want to go easy on yourself, because again, you want to you want to test out this thing where you are going ahead, creating a product in like under 4 hours or something, right? You're getting it out. But the most important thing is this: you get your link. Every product has its own link. And then what we're going to do is in the next day, you're going to start promoting it, right? So every single channel that you have, right? It could be the existing audience list that you have on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or WhatsApp or Telegram, and all of those channels, you want to go ahead and start talking about it. There are other ways as well. And depending upon how you wish to go ahead with it, right? You can go ahead and promote it. One thing that I'm also very, very happy to say that it works is I get interviewed by my friends, other people who have their own audiences. And in those interviews, I talk about this product that I have, right? Obviously with the other person's permission. And as a result, I can get my link, right? The link that we've spoke about in front of other people's audiences as well. As a result, a lot more people are exposed, you get a lot more traffic, and that's how you start making money. In the beginning, it's going to be very, very scary. Okay, when you have that link and your product is live, you will have butterflies in your stomach, because the first time that you're going to be making money with online, right? So then what you got to do is you realize that you have to get this link in front of as many people, as many of the right people as possible, right? So that you have people who are interested. You put your link in front of them. You say that, hey, I have this thing to sell. Would you like to buy it? Now, obviously, you need to figure out, again, your chances of success are greatly dependent upon this, right? You need to make sure that you have one audience in mind and you figured out what is that one biggest problem that they have and what is the right outcome for them. If you can put these two things together, you'd be in a very, very, very good place, so that when you start sharing this link that you have got after publishing your product on Gigsy, you can just go ahead, start sharing that link, and money will start coming in. Any questions? Anything that you'd like to add, Vikram, to any of the days of the process?
I would wait for some questions actually.
All right, go ahead. Questions, peoples. Please do share your questions. I see Mr. Nogeshwaran nodding his head saying no questions. Is that a no question?
Yeah, no questions, no questions. All clear.
Awesome. So Vikram, I guess we're not getting any more questions, but what about Dhruti and Surabhi? Would you have any questions for us?
No questions.
That was the quietest no questions ever. But
Yeah, that's either a damning way of saying you guys are absolutely
no
nuts,
questions at all.
or it's just being extremely saturated by too much information.
But it's a funny thing, because usually at this place is when people would say, but what if nobody buys, right? And that's a very, very legit concern, right? So you create this link and then you see that people are clicking on this and all of that, but nobody's buying, right? That's again a very scary thing, right? So there are some things that you can do to address that problem, right? First thing that you want to be doing is you want to be using something known as a bit.ly link, right? bit.ly, so that you can actually track the number of clicks that you've been getting on your link wherever you're sharing. That's number one. Number two, you want to play around a little bit with the words that you're using, right? And copywriting, as it is called, is the art of writing content, writing words in such a way that people actually want to buy what you're selling. Now, that is an entire art form unto itself. But if you're looking for some very specific knowledge, I'm just going to be sharing one name, right? Gary B. Marketing Bullets by Gary Bienchivenga. I think that's his name. I might be massacring his last name. But he's actually got like a ton of useful tips that you can use when it comes to creating, right? When you are setting up this stuff, the title, the description, the rest of the details, right? He's got a ton of stuff that can actually help you improve. This entire thing, this art of writing is known as copywriting, right? And yes, marketingbullets.com. Thank you for sharing, Vikram. Very, very useful stuff. You can definitely go through his old emails and all that. It's a ton and ton of useful content. That really helps. Beyond that, another question that usually pops up is, should I fix the price? Should I change the price? Well, that's a call that you will need to make, right? I would say it depends upon if other people have already bought the course or not. I'm in that situation, right? I've sold the course for about $5,499. And now if I want to reduce that price to, let's say, $3,000, right? Now I have to think about, hey, what would happen to the people who bought it at a higher price? Now you as a creator can say, hey, you know what? My stuff, I set the rules. It's like running a sale, right? But all depends upon the kind of relationship that you have with your audience as well. That's another thing that you have to keep in mind. The third and final question that comes up is like, how do I get it in front of, and how do I get my link in front of more people, right? So obviously we all have a limit on all of these things. So what are other things that you can do? Well, one is obviously, ads, right? You can spend money on advertising, and digital advertising is like too big to cover in like one episode or even as a part of one episode. So that's something else. But well, if you know how to run ads, you can definitely, send traffic and you can start converting. That's number one. Second thing you can do is you can partner with somebody who knows how to run these things. I'm doing that for myself, right? I enjoy the process of creating content, creating stuff to sell. But creating the, like running the ads, sending people to this and all that, that is, that's a lot of analytical work. That's a lot of work that takes me away from doing what I enjoy, right? And because I have made some money in the past, I have demonstrated that, hey, this product can sell. I've actually managed to get a couple of affiliates, right? Other people who can do the selling for me. And all I have to do is like watch the money roll in. Except I'm also paying them a healthy chunk of the commissions, right? So that's a call that you'll need to take. And third thing, like if you want to find like more people that you can get in front of, go ahead, search. You can go post on Quora. You can go join groups on Facebook related to whatever your topic is, and you have to be a part of that group for some time before you start. I wouldn't say spamming, but before you start sharing your content. It's really aggravating and irritating when somebody just joins your group and then starts immediately posting stuff, right? That's not good. So that's why your audience is going to be very, very helpful. Whatever audience you already have, that's what Gigsy is all about, right? You have an existing audience, we're going to help you monetize it. So if you have that audience, ask them to refer it. Tell them like, hey, you know what, this product is worth like $400. I'll give it to you for free if you can get 2 more people to buy it for me. It's a win-win. So I think that pretty much sums up the 5-day process. And beyond this, right? This is what this is what my experience was, and this is what I'm hoping will work for you as well. Remember, this is your first experience of making money online, okay? And as you progress, you want to look at more complex products. You don't want to just make like a 1 video or a 5 video series. You probably want to build out an entire video course that has a more powerful journey for your audience, right? You want to make sure that every step of the way, you're adding value. It does not matter if you build your video with the phone or, you use like really fancy lighting and all that. It doesn't matter. What matters is the value that you can deliver. And every time before you want to sell something, right? You want to validate, you want to make sure the audience is actually interested in buying. And for a situation like this, you can actually assume like a healthy conversion rate is like 3 to 5%. That means that out of 100 people who click on your link, 3, maybe 5 people will buy. Okay, that's a safe number. That's a good rule of thumb. If you're doing higher than this, that's really good. If not, go back, look at that link that Vikram's also spoken about, marketingbullets.com, so that you learn how to do this better. Or, you can always partner with others who can fit in for the skills that you do not have. With that, I think we've reached the end of the planned programming, so to speak. So now I'm open to questions. And Vikram, if you could also share your thoughts on anything, if you do have anything that you wish to highlight.
I think this is the juncture where we say, hey, you know what, ask us questions so that we can help you out and we can answer some stuff from our perspective, maybe even learn something new from you. So it's been a bit of a dialogue between just Arvind and myself until now. So we would rather make it a trialogue or a quadrilogue.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is our attempt at humor. There is this other thing that we're planning out for next week, which I think is pretty cool. We're going to be getting an established creator who's gone through very similar doldrums. And in fact, now she's actually, no, Vikram, why don't you go and explain what she is?
Yes, so she happens to be my music teacher. She teaches me vocals, teaches me how to sing, and she has come out with her own branded app. And this is Gigsy's new offering, where you can use Gigsy's infrastructure in an app which is made nicely for you that you can roll out in your own brand without having to leverage Gigsy as your brand. You essentially get Gigsy's complete tech infrastructure, but all in your brand name, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she has just launched her app called Vox Coach, VOXCOCH, which is all about coaching sound and vocals and all of that. So that's something that she has done very recently. So she's going all out trying to promote her brand and her app and everything else. And she's a great singer, obviously. So waiting for her to come on board and talk to us about her journey next week.
Yeah, and I'm like more than anything, I'm particularly interested in the whole journey side of things myself, right? Like I do understand how difficult and heart-wrenching it can be to be a creator, but then to go from there to actually having a sustainable business that pays for your roof and your current and your video game addiction is the place that I want to be. So all right. I guess we don't have any more questions, so I'm going to be ending today's session.
One thing.
Yes, please, yes.
Do we have any kind of creators promos or Gigsy so that we can say that we are there in the portal of Gigsy as creators, where we can have that to establish our contacts inside Facebook and WhatsApp and to promote ourselves? If Gigsy can have kind of a 10 or 20-second promo of anything that we are inside that and what is our domain all about with all the creators so far, so that it will be at a random thing that Gigsy also can say that, yes, we are into music, we are into voice, we are into artifacts, we are into so much of domain.
Mm-hmm.
So the people who are interested, because last week one of my friends, he's a music player, he's a guitarist and he's a music composer.
Mm-hmm.
I just posted to him on his WhatsApp. He said, what is this Gigsy all about? And explained him thoroughly, and he was not able to understand what it was. And he teaches physically going to classes and he teaches night and all those things. But he wants to get to a platform online because the last 6 months just slipped off. The last 6 months was devastating for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So therein we thought so much of aspects what we can do. And since I explained to him, he started asking me, how is that in that time frame that I'll get promoted in that? Because I have people coming to me and learning, how do I do that?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought if each creator has their own particular kind of a promo kind which is being given by Gigsy or something, that part will be enhancing or enabling us to say that this is what we are and this is the domain all about. More than explaining Gigsy about, if there is a small story of Gigsy, saying that this is what Gigsy all about, and you can also be a part of it.
Okay, this is a good idea. Vikram, do you want to share your thoughts on this as well?
Yeah, so a couple of things. One, just in terms of marketing and talking about your own profile page, you can share your.
Not mine alone. It will be the entire. We may be around 500 creators, 200 creators. I don't know the real picture.
Yeah.
These creators to establish ourselves, saying that yes, we are there already in a platform called Gigsy. Because when a newcomer approaches me and explains him for around half an hour, he doesn't understand everything. And I ask him to go to the website, he gets complicated and he says, just explain me once again. And I walk him through like so it's a lot of time that we spend.
Yeah, so one of the things that you can do, two things that you can do. One is if somebody signs up on the platform and wants an explanation, please ask them to write an email immediately to hello@gigsy.in, and we will schedule a session with them. We will take them through the entire platform,
But I think
teach them how to, go through it and everything else. So we will do that by default.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It'll be a write-up actually. Again, he has to ask you questions.
Yeah.
So
No. I think you're right, Mr. Yogeshwar. What we can
Yeah.
do, and I'll take personal responsibility for this. And I'm really great this is happening on video, right? Is that we'll actually create like a 30-second video saying like, this is what Gigsy is, this is what it does. And you know what? You have my word that I will get this video done in the next 7 days. Okay. Worst case scenario. Huh? I will.
I will voice for that.
Thank you so much.
Well, that's brilliant. Let's create a collaboration at its
already.
best.
Yeah.
You too.
Okay. Sure. So we'll definitely do that. I think this is a good thing. Thank you for that, Mr. Yogeshwar. I am grateful. We will definitely make this happen as a part of Gigsy as well.
I have one more contact of mine, and they wanted to have a live Facebook interview with me tomorrow, on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So I was collecting all these things. I was talking to them about Gigsy. Nobody knows about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're going to have, just look at this. A small thing which is seeing is believing, right? If somebody
just like a quick explainer video, right? That tells them what it's about. Yeah.
In a video of 30 or 40 seconds, wonderful with a brilliant writer. That's it. And you can integrate the team with whatever animations or text that you need. You can design it up. Something like that.
Yeah, cool. Arvind, I think we should do that. I think
we will.
There is a big value add in getting that done, and I think we should absolutely go.
We'll get the MVP done very, very soon, and after that we can always iterate and get it. Well, thank you for that, Mr. Yogeshwar. I do appreciate it. And for everybody else who's tuned in and is watching this in the future, don't forget you can always reach out to us using the Gigsy platform as well as on hello@gigsy.in. This is Arvind saying over and out, and Vikram.